Thanks for tuning in to Women Who Open Doors, a podcast dedicated to lifting the voices of incredible women in our communities who not only excel in their careers, but inspire us through their actions for others. Hi, I'm Julie Collins, owner and coach of Not Magic, and it's my honor to help share the stories of these remarkable women. So without further ado, welcome to Women Who Open Doors. Well, welcome to Women Who Open Doors. I'm really elated today to have a wonderful guest with us, Hana Simpson. Let me tell you a little bit about Hana Simpson. Hana is the Chief Executive Officer of Girl Scouts of Wisconsin Southeast, the preeminent membership-based organization dedicated to helping all girls develop confidence, determination, and skills needed to thrive in today's world. Most recently, Hana Simpson serves as the Director of Community and Economic Development at the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority, WHEDA, between 2019 to 2023. Throughout her career, Hana has served on numerous boards, a lot in the bio list, and community associations focused on business, development expansion, entrepreneurship, and wealth building opportunities for marginalized and diverse communities, describing herself as a culture and equity warrior. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So welcome, Hana. It's so great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much.
I'm super excited to talk to you. So, this the end of the bio that I read for everyone described you as a culture and equity warrior. And I really want to start there because we've done a lot of research on you as well. But tell me a little bit about those words and really what those words mean to you.
I appreciate that question. For me, it's been an evolution. It's been an evolution of experiences throughout my entire career that has led me to that self-proclaimed status.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer in the fact that the culture of any organization that you are a part of or leading is really the genesis of how the organization is going to work, how it's going to operate. I'm a firm believer that if your employees are happy, then your stakeholders are happy, and the folks that you are serving are going to be happy and served well, that there's an ROI in that investment of your internal stakeholders and the culture of an organization. And part of it, yes, it's how you treat others. Part of it is how you're engaging with one another, but really just ensuring that folks are in a position to thrive, to have professional development opportunities. I just really think, and this is why I say it's an evolution of my career, I think through all of the things that have gone well in my career, all of the things that maybe have not gone as well in my career, and it's an amalgamation of all of that in what I want to see within the culture of an organization and equity, right? I'm a big proponent of girl and female organizations, leading the Girl Scouts, but also being a Temple Milwaukee member. It's something that I'm passionate about, is ensuring that more females have equal opportunities, that we have seats at the table, that we have a voice, that there's pay equity, all of the things, and people of color. So when we talk about equity, is really how are we making strides on leveling the playing field as much as possible, and really creating a community where diverse backgrounds, diverse voices are truly welcomed in all spaces. So that's how that came about.
I love the word that you use, the warrior, too, and you started out talking about the organization, but your brand itself, your personal brand, you had mentioned, this career that I want to talk a little bit more about right now, because you really, first of all, you're the first Latina correct, as to lead as the CEO of the Girl Scouts of Wisconsin Southeast. So tell me a little bit more about, obviously that warrior word, but how it connects to your personal brand, because you've taken this journey that with twists and turns, as you told me, that got you to this place. So tell me and tell our listeners a little bit about that journey.
So for me, when I think of the question of how you stated it and the word warrior, I really think about the statement, and I'm sure you've heard this, that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. And maybe it's my age, maybe it's the role, but I really have been reflecting a lot lately, more so about my grandmothers, about
Mhm.
my mother, and the journeys and the sacrifices that they made, and
Mhm.
really understanding who they were as women and how strong they were. And when I think about whatever fights we might take on and whatever
Mhm.
challenges we want to really embark on, and the things that we want to do to make the world a better place, I wholeheartedly now really spend this reflective time thinking about that I wouldn't have the ability to do what I do day in and day out if it wasn't for major sacrifices that were done. So, and even having the ability to be the first Latina leading the Girl Scouts, one, it's bittersweet. I
Mhm.
don't know. There's a sense of pride um, in being in the role, but it's bittersweet to say that
Mhm.
in 2024
Right.
we're still the first of anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but then I think about, and that my family's story can often mirror so many other stories of folks that came to the US to build a better
Mhm.
life for their families. So
Mhm.
when, for example, when my grandmother came in 19, so she came in 1948, left my
Okay.
dad and his brother behind in Puerto Rico so that she could find work, get established, and then sent for two of her
Mm.
sons 2 years later. My dad was 8 at the time when she left. So when you think about the sacrifice of leaving a child behind so that you can
Right.
build a better life, and
Mhm.
just and all the sacrifices that she made even once she was here, or that my mom, she immigrated to the United States in 1965, but again, literally came by herself, left her entire family behind for an opportunity to come to the United States and again build a better life and a better
Mhm.
future for her family. And so when I think about when I have difficult moments or difficult conversations, it really does put it in perspective when you think about the
Yeah.
sacrifices that people made
Mhm.
before you, because it's like
Mhm.
I've done nothing. Like they
Right.
literally gave up their lives. Like they literally sacrificed their lives and
Yeah.
and so many things to build a better future. So I feel that we owe it to them to push harder
Mhm.
and try to keep moving forward and being a warrior to
Mhm.
create these spaces for female leaders.
Mhm. Strength doesn't even that word strength doesn't even do it justice either as you talk through it. My family had the same journey, and there's so much respect for the sacrifice. Sacrifice is a wonderful, wonderful word. So
Yeah.
you talked a little bit about your mom, so I imagine she was a wonderful mentor for you yourself. So thank you for that. But talk to us a little bit about how that did influence your path and the twists and turns that your career took.
I lost my mom, unfortunately, to cancer when I was 26.
Mm.
And I am very appreciative for the time that I did have with her. Once I was born, she ended up staying home with me. So I did get a lot of time with her since she didn't go back to work after I was born. But I wish I would have had her for
Mm.
longer as a mentor, and to really ask the questions that now,
Mhm.
21 years after her passing, that I think about. I never asked this. I should have asked that.
Sure.
Or just all the things, right? You just don't think
Yeah.
about those things when you're 25, 26.
No.
Um, but my mom, one, so she immigrated from Spain, in which if anyone is familiar with just history in Europe, at that time, the country was under the rule of Francisco Franco,
Mhm.
and also a lot of women's rights were taken away during
Mhm.
his reign. Um, and she was the only one of her siblings that was educated.
Mm.
Um, and being a female, that was rare,
Mhm.
but also boys had to mandatory military service. So the boys went into the military, and then her two older sisters had to work with the parents in their business. So my mom, being the youngest, was the one that was able to become educated. And when she went to college, she actually was given the option of becoming a teacher, a nun, or a nurse. Those were her options, because
Okay.
that's what
Sure.
women could be in Spain
Sure.
in
Sure. Sure.
1950, 1940 something, actually, it would have been. Um, and fast forward, knowing who she then became, the fact that she ended up immigrating to the United States
Mhm.
makes so much sense, right? Because
Mhm.
she was small in stature, but just strong and fierce.
Mhm.
And I and even when she was there, she tried to petition that she wanted to become a pharmacist, and she lost the petition, but she still tried to fight. So she was just a fighter. And
Sure.
and I will say, both my parents, I was raised in an environment where literally they always said to me, you can be anything that you
Mhm.
want to be. And I also think about just her strength. And one, she was one of the best humans that I, to this day, and not because she's my mom, but she literally was one of the best humans I have ever met.
Mhm.
She was the devout Catholic, but she was just genuinely a good person. Um,
Mhm.
so she set a great example that I did not always follow, but she set a great example.
We never
Um,
do. We never do as kids.
no, I mean,
We never do.
honestly, but those were also like high expectations. Like, she was just one of the best humans I've
Yeah.
ever experienced. Um, but also, once she was here and she met my dad. My dad is Puerto Rican, as I had mentioned, but he's Afro Latino. Again, kind of thinking of the historical context, they met in 1970. They were married in 1973. Well, Love versus Virginia happened in 1968.
Mm.
So there weren't interracial,
Mhm.
relationships, or there were, but very, very few. And so they would catch heat walking down the street. Sometimes they would be met with cheers, sometimes they would be met with boos. And again, I didn't understand just what that meant
Yeah.
until I was older. And again, so I just think about those examples that she really instilled in me. And she was just a firm believer of, you've got to do what you think is right. And sometimes you stand on your principles, and you really just need to push forward and fight for people that maybe don't have a voice or don't have as strong of a voice. And I really did just get that from her. But like I said, I wish I would have had more time with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that. I didn't realize that. But what a beautiful inspiration. Both families, both sides of your family. Now it
Yeah.
makes total sense, who you are and the way you serve. I mentioned earlier that you were at WIDA for a
Mhm.
period of time, but you were in some non-traditional industries as well. So talk a little bit about that, because I think even this combination of experiences is really, really intriguing.
Yeah, no, thank you. I spent the bulk of my career in the financial services industry. So even though once I went and worked for WIBIC, the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corp, someone would say, well, that's nonprofit, but it was still a CDFI or a
Mhm.
community development financial institution. So still financial services industry, even through WIDA.
Right.
20 of those years were in banking. Part of it in retail, part of it on the commercial side. But probably about 15 years into my banking career is when I really started to realize that I I got joy from my volunteer work. I got
Mhm.
joy from serving in a capacity that was serving the community. And so I knew that I wanted my career to shift so that I'd have the ability to do that work on a full-time basis. And it was just a matter of figuring out how my skills and my experience that I already knew were transferable skills and experience, but how I was going to get others really to see that and to have the opportunity to make a breakthrough in another industry that I had not been in. So sometimes those pivots and those moves may
Mhm.
look like someone might is flailing in their career, they don't know what they want,
Mhm.
but the other perspective is someone knows what they want and they're just
Mhm.
augmenting the experience that they already have and
Mhm.
gathering additional experience that's going to get them to where they want to be.
Mhm. Fabulous, fabulous. One of the other things that was intriguing for me that I would love to share, have you share, is now at the Girl Scouts, this really, obviously the Girl Scouts have a vision and a mission, but this purpose around elevating the older generation or the older girls to really keep them connected to the services. I know so often we think of Girl Scouts, Girl Scout cookies, right? The younger generation. So talk to us a little bit about that vision that you have for the organization that is very purposeful.
So I have my two oldest children. My girls are 28 and 23. I was their Girl Scout leader when they were
Mm.
younger. And I will say that if I had the opportunity to know all that I know about Scouts and scouting now, I would have absolutely pushed them to stay in it longer. For
Mhm.
me, Girl Scouting really becomes fun when the girls are in middle school and in high school. I think about myself at that age. I even think about my girls and other activities that they were involved with and other organizations that they were involved with. Girl Scouting provides an opportunity to have those experience through one organization. So if it's looking for opportunities to be in service to others and volunteering, if it's looking for opportunities to be in the outdoors or leadership experience, uh, Girl Scouts at that middle school and high school level have unique opportunities to develop leadership skills that really are experiences that they're not going to have access to
Mhm.
with other organizations. I think that we want to make sure that we're positioning our youth so that they are becoming well-rounded adults
Mhm.
and leaders. But to do that, it goes beyond just the academics. It goes beyond just sports as well. It takes all of it. And I think about experiences through Girl Scouting. So a few examples, like our Girl Scout Leadership Network, where it's a group of high school girls that serve as the advisors to the CEO. And we meet with them throughout the school year on a regular basis. But in addition to that, we get to work with these young women on building soft skills, on getting ready for college and their careers, for exploring career opportunities. We bring in different community leaders and speakers for them to have exposure to and to ask questions. I would have absolutely loved to have an experience like that when I was that age. And it is
Mhm.
so invaluable in really exposing our youth to what are the possibilities. We often will invite our high school girls to events that are happening in the community. So whether it's at organizations like Professional Dimensions or
Mhm.
Temple Milwaukee, for a high school girl to go to an event and see 300, 500 plus women that are all powerhouses in their own right, that is so inspiring to these young women. And they all just walk away so excited, not have ever been in a room with that many female
Right.
leaders. It's
Yeah.
just, it leaves an impression, and it's so special. And finally, the one other opportunity that I think is so unique and such a neat experience is we have high school girls that serve on our board. So each year we have 3 spots on our board of directors that high school girls apply. We're actually in the process right now to fill 2 of the spots where these young women have the opportunity to sit and learn about how to run a nonprofit organization. They sit with our CFO and learn about the financials so that they understand the conversations that we're having and what they're voting on. They have full voting rights. We encourage them and we talk to them about, you have a voice, you have a seat at this table. We want to hear your perspective. And again, to not only get that experience first and foremost, right? That you are starting off even before college saying that I sat on a governing board and I have that experience. Not only does it make them stronger going into whatever their next step is, but also they have that experience on their resume now. It's they're amazing opportunities. And so I'm looking forward to how we can continue to grow in that space of having middle school girls and high school girls stay in Girl Scouts. Around that middle school age, that's when often you see a decline because again, life gets busy. Maybe it doesn't seem as cool, whatever the reason may be. But I really am trying to get in front of youth, and as an organization, we're really trying to just showcase that this is a unique opportunity, and here is why you should consider staying in. For example, one other quick example, to me, that is why girls really should not only join Girl Scouts when they're younger, but also stay past that middle school age and consider the opportunities that they have exposure to.
You know, one of the wonderful things of this vision of working with older girls is also this concept of you're bridging to also other generations, because so often in our work, I have CEOs and owners and leaders of companies that are super frustrated with the younger generation. And I keep saying to them, they need purpose, they need a place, they aren't bad. Remember when our older generation was saying the same thing to us, but you really are with this vision also bridging over to us, you know, the leaders in organizations, to help really make a case like they need this. Not just leadership skills, but they need involvement at the table to help their growth, but they aren't as bad as you think they might be, right? It's not just about girls, it's about both. So I'm kind of curious if you've seen also movement with, leaders of companies and things where you've also gotten the girls involved within the community, if their views have changed a bit as well.
That is certainly one of our goals. And I know that we've created experiences where we've brought community leaders in and have given them the opportunity to be able to see Girl Scouting in action, which I think that over time will start to change that sentiment. I often say that I want our general community, our stakeholders, to view Girl Scouts as the future leaders, future voters, future community members, future employees, right? But again, I can say that, and unless they have exposure and experience to who these girls are, it's hard to make that connection. They're just words. So one of the examples of something we did differently this year is that for our highest awards, so our highest awards are our bronze, silver, and gold award. It's the highest achievement that Girl Scouts can receive. So for example, if you're a Girl Scout and you're a Gold Award member, if you're a Boy Scout and you're an Eagle Scout and you enter the military, both of those achievements allow you to enter the military at a higher rank. So just to kind of give a little bit of perspective as to what it means to earn your Gold Award. And so when we did the ceremony this year, one of the things that we did is that we looked for sponsors, and then we invited the corporations and the companies that sponsored to come in and be a part of the celebration and the event. So they had an opportunity to go around and see the projects that our Gold Award winners worked on. So community impact projects, all no less than 80 hours that they would have put into these projects. And they have a display prior to the award ceremony where they share what it is, etc. So again, brought the community in so that they could see and speak with the girls one-on-one. And corporations, also politicians. We had folks there at a state level. We had folks from federal senators offices come in. The lieutenant governor was there. So again, bringing in government, bringing in the community, bringing in corporations to see these girls in action really does then leave an imprint and make an impact. And I think starts to change, right? That perception and that perspective, because all of a sudden you're like, I mean, it's funny because I think of one girl in particular that as she would share her story, actually, Lily was the Young Woman of Distinction for the Women and Girls Fund of Waukesha County this about a month ago. And when you hear her speak, she's one of these young women that everyone's like, well, I wasn't that put together when I was her age. I mean, because she just blows your mind, right? Yeah. And so again, taking it beyond those one-on-one experiences, but making sure that we're bringing folks in so that we can start to change it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Speaking of awards, the list is long for you, my friend, too. So congratulations on the Tempo Member Award. Women of Influence was just recently here by the Milwaukee Business Journal. There's a list here that I could go on, but tell me a little bit about what those mean to you as well.
It's humbling. I am not just a boastful or a humble brag. It's definitely one of those opportunities that you reflect back on how hard you've worked up until this point in your career to have that acknowledgement. And you do have a deep appreciation for the acknowledgement. And I often don't have imposter syndrome, at least in a work setting. I don't, because I'm very confident in what I bring to the table. When you are recognized for the work, because I'm not someone that just naturally wants to be in the spotlight or the limelight, you are a little bit like, okay, thank you. All right, let's get past this. Thank you. Like I want to be really appreciative. One of the best pieces of advice that I got actually in college from someone that was complimenting me and I just did not handle compliments well. It's you have to learn how to accept a compliment. So it's still not natural all these years later, but I am much more graceful and gracious about it now. So yes, it's an honor. It's sometimes a little bit embarrassing, but I am honored and I am very appreciative. And it's a great community. I know that this area has been in the news lately, just with everything going on, but Milwaukee's a beautiful community. I am not originally from here, but yet I've chosen to stay when I didn't have to, and I've raised my family, and it is very validating to then be recognized by a community that you've given so much to, and that means so much to you.
Thank you for the message about imposter syndrome, because you are the perfect candidate for our Women Who Open Doors podcast. I say it all the time. We look for people because many women say to me, I couldn't do what you're doing. I couldn't do a podcast, all of that wrapped in. And usually it's the humble ones like yourself. So I knew even the award question would get you a little like, I don't know if I really want to talk about it. But thank you for sharing and being vulnerable with us on that, because that is, this is really, the podcast is really for all of those women that are like, I don't know if I could do that, or that's weird. I got an award for that because that is true authenticity. And I know why you're just being a dynamic leader with the Girl Scouts. So one, I know the time's almost up here. Tell our listeners if they want to get involved with the Girl Scouts, obviously, or if they have a young daughter or a middle school daughter or the high school daughter, tell us a little bit how they can go about getting involved or getting their daughters involved.
Oh, absolutely. So our website, www.gswise, so Girl Scouts Wisconsin, WI Southeast, or GSWise, .org. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'd be more than happy to connect you. But literally just reach out. And there are so many opportunities that we have. So if it's someone that's looking for an opportunity to volunteer, it doesn't have to be at a troop level. It can be in more leadership capacity. We have over 7,000 volunteers in Southeast Wisconsin.
Ooh, wow.
It's the heart of what makes Girl Scouting work and tick. And so we are always looking for women and men who are volunteering. I can give you a perfect example. We have communities that will run day camp. So instead of being a staff-led camp, it's a volunteer-led camp. And the Brookfield area had their day camp last week, and they served about 220 girls, but it took about 130 volunteers to serve those 200 plus girls. And again, it was men. And I was blown away at just the involvement and the commitment. And we have so many communities that do this throughout the summer. But again, there's so many opportunities to volunteer. If you have a young daughter who is looking at becoming a Girl Scout, actually any age, if you reach out to us, we can help you find where the closest troop is, even if it's not at her school. So it doesn't have to be tied to her school. It could be in the community. There are some community troops that exist as well. Also, Girl Scouts can be an individually registered member. So maybe a girl, maybe the troop setting isn't her thing, but she might want to go to camp. She might want to just experience things a la carte on her own. She can be an individually registered member. So again, it's about meeting girls where they're at. And there are so many opportunities. But again, really just reach out, whether the website, but again, feel free to reach out to me and I can get you in contact with the right person.
Well, Hana Simpson, you are a fabulous leader, fabulous human. My mom was super excited that you were going to be on the podcast because she was my Girl Scout leader. She ran the crafts at the day camp. So she was super excited when I told her. So she'll be very excited to hear about your leadership and what you're doing. But thank you so much for sharing your experiences, your family, just so wonderful. So, and congratulations on all your success so far. And I know we'll talk again. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's been great. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we have. Are there inspirational women leaders in your life? Recommend them for this podcast by emailing me at jcollins@knot-magic.com and telling me why they're the perfect person to be featured. And please leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts to help us share these amazing women with others.